Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is March 13th, 2025. Yesterday was a little bit more calm. We had the CPI data. Today, you got the PPI data, but even though it came in lower, we're kind of having a similar reaction to yesterday. The yields are going up despite there being lower inflation data. The market's reacting a little bit, but we had that. We got to hear a little bit about tariffs and the back and forth between the EU, France, Canada. They're actually going to be meeting here today. You even had Howard Lutnick. And then DJT, I don't know if you guys saw that on the wire. There's something there. Trump-backed World Liberty could be a part of a Binance deal. Trump family has had deals with Binance following crypto. That sounds amazing, actually. DJT and Binance. You heard it here first, baby. Good morning. Good morning. Steve Witkoff has been involved for deals between Trump's Binance. Trump family has been in talk for stake in crypto exchange Binance. That's insane. That is now Bakkt is on the low. But yeah, DJT, that is actually huge news. So let's send a stream alert, but good morning, baby. So we're going to have a wild day ahead. We got a couple of events here. You already had the PPI, but yeah, very, very wild. DJT, Trump apparently. That's big, though. So I don't know how long it's going to hold up, but Chad. What up, Todd? What up, Marshall? Good morning, Mr. Jordan, Anza, Lori, Mark J, Michael Pila, Dos Nacho, Anzo, Avocado. Oh, what up, PNC? Ready to go. Bill, baby. Jamal, the last one, David. Nick Lerman, baby. What up, Mr. Mullen? White Shits, Gus Gonzo, Amon, Chris, Marcus Handling, baby. Tyree, Amon, Chris, Casalo, Dakeem, CYB, baby. What up, Rod? How you doing, IPAC? What up, Tom? Good morning, Caleb. Good morning, Wavy, Gravy, and Lauren. Killer Toast, Joe B, Bawatsky. Good morning, baby. What up, Chote? What up, Alyssa? What up, Lucky Soldier? What up, Yulong? Is it Yulong? Young, baby. What about that Twitch stock Sasquatch? Dante, the Mercator, Woodrow, Blowing Dough, Hakuna Marax, Payday Devo, Toy Soldier, Ryan, baby, Payday Devo, Blizzy B, Chris, Feed Me Seymour, Vasily, Dio, Blazing Bob, Roach, Vince, Jay, Mitch, and Pie Guy and Robo Handtech. Oh, I wanted to say Piggy again. My stretches were good. I still got a lot more to do. I just did a couple here in the bro. I've been daylight savings stupid as hell. You know that? It's stupid as hell. I don't like this shit. Yeah, it's late and later in the day I'll like it, but not now. Not now. But that being said, here's Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Good morning. Stock futures slipped before wholesale inflation data. U.S. stock futures dropped as investors waited to see if wholesale inflation data due later would confirm signs of a slowdown in price growth. While President Donald Trump issued a fresh threat of trade tariffs against Europe, S&P 500 contracts retreated 0.5%, while those on the NASDAQ 100 were down 0.7% after gains on Wednesday, spurred by a softer-than-expected consumer inflation print. A slew of weak earnings from the likes of software firms Adobe Inc. and SentinelOne Inc. hit their shares in pre-market trading, though Intel Inc. jumped as much as 11% after the chipmaker named a new chief executive officer. Gold was a notable mover, with prices rising toward record highs as several banks predicted further gains for the Haven asset amid the escalation in global trade tensions, and investors are now awaiting readings on wholesale inflation and initial jobless claims. While price growth is seen moderating to 0.3% last month, the data will not take into account fresh tariffs that have raised fears of an economic slowdown. Those risks were highlighted by Trump's threat on Thursday to retaliate if the European Union did not immediately remove levies imposed in response to U.S. tariff hikes.
Daniel Murray, CEO of EFG Asset Management in Zurich, said while the previous day's CPI reading has reinvigorated belief in the declining inflation narrative, markets are unable to shake off their broader concerns over the damage from President Donald Trump's tariff policies. And if there was a reasonable degree of certainty regarding what is going to be implemented, when and how other countries will respond, then markets could price the likely outcomes more easily and move on, EFG's Murray said. However, that clarity is sadly missing at the moment. All that has driven a slew of Wall Street banks, including Goldman Sachs Group Inc. and Citigroup Inc., to cut their forecasts for the S&P 500. Yardeni Research added to that bearish chorus, noting that Trump's tariff policies have heightened the risk of stagflation. Still, some strategists reckon a bottom for U.S. stocks is probably here, with J.P. Morgan Chase and Company saying the worst of the correction may be over, and European shares slipped 0.2%, extending their drop after Trump's comment. Meanwhile, Treasury yields edged higher as the Federal Reserve, which meets next week, has already signaled it will take a wait-and-see approach before cutting interest rates further. Bund yields also rose ahead of a special session in Germany's parliament to debate the legislation needed for sweeping fiscal reforms. In commodities, crude oil futures slipped as the International Energy Agency warned global demand is under pressure from the escalating trade war. Gold rose 0.4% to about $2,947 an ounce. Schumer says Democrats will block GOP plan to avert shutdown. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said his party would block a Republican spending bill to avert a government shutdown on Saturday and urged the GOP to accept a Democratic plan to provide funding through April 11th instead. Schumer's declaration Wednesday raised the stakes in an ongoing game of chicken between congressional Republicans and Democrats and appeared to heighten the risk of a shutdown at a time financial markets are hypersensitive to new disruption. Democrats used to be good people. Now they just hate you. JP Morgan strategists say U.S. stocks overplay recession risk. U.S. equities are pricing in a recession risk much bigger than credit markets, leaving room for a positive surprise. According to JP Morgan Chase and Company strategists, stock volatility and credit spreads typically move in tandem but have started diverging this year as the S&P 500 slides over fears that President Donald Trump's policies will derail economic growth. The S&P 500 is currently pricing a 33% probability of a U.S. recession, while credit is pricing in 9% to 12% odds. Strategists, including Nikolos Panagurtsoglu and Mika Inkinen, wrote in a note, Trump vows U.S. will respond to Europe's metal tariff retaliation. President Donald Trump said the U.S. would respond to the European Union's countermeasures against his new 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, raising the risk of further escalation in his global trade war. Of course, I'm going to respond, Trump said Wednesday when asked by reporters at the White House if he would retaliate. The problem is our country didn't respond. Look, the EU was set up in order to take advantage of the United States. Trump said he would tariff wine and spirits at 200% if France doesn't change its tone. Intel CEO signals that he'll stick with contentious foundry plan. Incoming Intel Corp Chief Executive Officer Lip Bu Tan is signaling that he'll stick with his predecessor's plan to make chips for other companies, even as he vows to learn from past mistakes. Tan, who was named to the CEO job on Wednesday, sent a letter to employees before meeting with staff in the afternoon, offering a rough sketch of his plans for the embattled chipmaker. Part of the message, he will keep working to make Intel a top foundry, a business that produces chips for outside clients. That endeavor has been costly for Intel so far and contributed to the ouster of prior CEO Pat Gelsinger. Shareholders are disappointed that Josh Answers was not selected for the role despite being more qualified than virtually every candidate, but reporters who reached out to Mr. Answers via the Watchlist said that Answers gives his blessing and believes a confident CEO selection is good for shareholders. Critics of Josh Answers and Intel still believe there will be significant challenges moving forward. Answers responded by saying, "Shut up, bitch." Top overnight news. Senate Republicans are planning tax reductions that go well beyond an extension of President Trump's expiring tax cuts. On the menu, reviving lapsed business tax breaks, expanding the child tax credit, loosening the cap on the state and local tax deduction, and incorporating Trump's ideas for eliminating taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security benefits, said Finance Committee Chairman Mike Crapo, R. Idaho, who ticked through a list of ideas Wednesday that could easily top $5 trillion or more over a decade. WSJ, on the back of Trump's Yale CEO caucus meeting Tuesday, while CEOs have largely been quiet, they affirmed that things would have to get significantly worse to publicly criticize the president. Asked how much the stock market would need to decline for them to speak out collectively, 44% said it would have to fall 20%. Another 22% said stocks would have to fall 30% before they would take a stand. WSJ, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent spoke with congressional leaders about making Trump tax cuts permanent and said that is what they will deliver. Fox Business, Japanese investors registered the second largest net purchases of overseas equities on record last week. Funds offloaded a net $2.4 billion of overseas bonds. BBG, the BOJ's terminal rate, may be 1.5% or higher. According to JST's chief economist Hiroshi Ugai, the recent rise in long-term interest rates indicates that a similar view is spreading in markets. BBG and Intel soared pre-market, INTC plus 11% Premcate after naming industry veteran Lip-Bu Tan as CEO. He signaled he'll stick to the firm's contentious foundry strategy. Chip-related stocks in Asia rallied. Poland's president has called on the U.S. to transfer nuclear weapons to Polish territory as a deterrent against Russian aggression, a request that is likely to be perceived as highly provocative in Moscow. After global oil demand is under pressure from the escalating trade war, the IEA said it expects a surplus of 600,000 barrels a day in 2025, which may jump to 1 million BD following OPEC's decision to revive output. BBG, fentanyl seizures along the U.S.-Mexico border tumbled tilde 40% in Feb to 590 pounds, hitting the lowest level since Dec 21. BBG median Manhattan apartment rents hit a record $4,500 in February, with bidding wars in almost 27% of deals. The competitive market is expected to hold as economic uncertainty keeps potential homebuyers in rentals. BBG,
there's a more. Good morning, baby. You guys know it's Friday, Junior. Oh, yeah. S&P futures, they are down by 0.2. Thursday morning trading comes after U.S. equities finished mostly higher on Wednesday with tech and Mag 7 momentum. Crowded long cyclicals among the standouts. However, stocks still finished well off of their best levels. Breadth was weak as roughly 2/3 of the S&P ended lower on the day. Treasuries weaker across the curve. Dollars up by 0.2. Gold is up by 0.2. Bitcoin is up by 0.3. And WTI is off by 0.5. Market back on the defensive following underwhelming bounce that came despite cooler CPI. Unclear whether today's cooler PPI will help provide support. Fitz with talk about how bounces should be faded among more signs of Trump uncertainty spilling over to the consumer and corporate behavior. Trade tensions back in the headlines again this morning, with Trump threatening 200% tariffs on all wines and other alcoholic products coming out of the EU if the bloc does not scrap its tariff on whiskey. Unrelenting talk about reciprocals in early April, another overhang. Government shutdown risk elevated after Schumer said Democrats won't support the CR that was passed by the House. Latest batch of earnings also disappointed and highlighted concerns about consumer retrenchment, AEO, and then the Doge austerity push with Path. Desks have flagged continued CTA supply pressure, liquidity constraints, and technical deterioration. Headline PPI flat month over month versus consensus of 0.2. Core went down by 0.1 versus a 0.3 rise expected. Weekly jobless claims below consensus, but little change. Continuing claims also below expectations. Treasury to sell $22 billion of 30-year bonds this afternoon. Trump is meeting with Republican members of Senate Finance Committee to discuss next steps to pass multi-trillion-dollar tax cut. In addition, Canadian officials meet with Commerce Secretary Lutnick to discuss USMCA following rampant trade tensions earlier this week.
Adobe down despite mostly better expected first quarter. Reiterated full-year guidance and new disclosures. Intel boosted by announcement of Lip-Bu Tan as next CEO. ACN announced investment in AI platform Opaque. Dollar General beat and announced portfolio review. Path down big following weaker fiscal ARR and full-year 26 guide, with the company flagging weakness in U.S. federal amid recent disruptions. Sentinel-1 missed on fiscal Q4 and guided full-year 26 ARR below, though some takeaways on positive platform traction. AEO hit by management comments, weaker quarter to date. Trends less robust in demand on colder weather lowered, and below consensus guidance for Q1 and full-year 25. Wow. Trump threatens tariffs on EU and Canada, retaliating an escalating trade war. Trump offers many reasons for imposing tariffs, including revenue, leverage, and job creation. Ontario Premier Doug Ford to meet with Commerce Secretary Lutnick today. Business leaders criticize Trump's economic plan, but stay silent in public. Global firms plan for the worst amid Trump's tariff barrage, with many setting up tariff task force to mitigate risk. Trade group says U.S. food giant seeks to exempt some imports from tariffs. Trump tariffs leading to a boycott USA. Global consumer backlash against U.S. goods. Survey shows majority of Americans believe Trump too erratic in his moves to shake up the U.S. economy. Walmart clashing with China over the company's efforts to reduce the impact of Trump. All these headlines are bullshit. I'm sorry. U.S. corporate bond spreads hit. Remember the expectations of uncertainty. Yeah, we'll go over that. Corporate bond spreads hit the highest in September amid growing concerns of recession. Stocks seek refuge in stagflation bets as Trump tariffs stoke fears. Stock market volatility unlikely to end until clarity on Trump tariffs. JP Morgan says U.S. equity correction may be over and lowers recession risk. Hang Seng Bull widens divergence with S&P to most extreme level since 2000. Global funds offload Taiwan stocks amid broader tech rout. South Korea prepares market for disruptions due to tariffs. Bank of Korea warns of capital outflow. Trump selects Governor Bowman to be next vice chair of supervision. Bank of Japan officials see no need to intervene in bond market despite yields hitting as high as 06. ECB Nagel says euro inflation will return to 2% target by end of 25. Intel names Lip-Bu Tan. Adobe revenue outlook underwhelms. American Eagle offers mixed report. OpenAI head of international strategy says company seeing tremendous demand in market across all segments. FTC moving forward with Microsoft antitrust probe. BMW will absorb cost of tariffs on imports from Mexico. Deutsche Bank forecast 2025 revenue amid analyst skepticism. Couche-Tard confident pursuing 7&i acquisition. U.S. consumer spending weakens across all income levels amid economic uncertainty. U.S. convenience store sales down 4.3 as consumers cut back on snacks and cigarettes. U.S. budget deficit widens to 1.1 in the first 5 months. China NPC takeaway highlights Beijing's shifting priorities amid AI breakthrough in U.S. tariffs. Japan wage negotiations yield solid increase ahead of official tallies tomorrow. UK housing demand post weakness, weakest month since late 23 with further softening expected. UK corporate distress hits post-pandemic high as economic pressures melt. Democrats reject House GOP stopgap bill. Trump meeting with Senate Finance Committee Republicans to talk about tax cuts. Trump planning DOJ visit this Friday to speak about administration plans and restoring law and order. EPA says it is starting efforts to reverse Biden vehicle emission rules. Amid ongoing ceasefire, Ukraine loses footing in Kursk region. Putin presents demand for U.S.-Ukraine war deal as he weighs a 30-day ceasefire proposal. NATO rep meets Trump amid defense spending. Experts discuss what if Ukraine fights without the United States. Wow. Chatadonia. Can you explain why they're BS? I think you know, Alex. You like to ask me the dramatic questions. You have a habit of that. So I'm going to ban you, and then I'll answer your question because you should pay attention to the watch list. It's very simple. In the last 5 years, the media has never used the word uncertainty as much as now. So with inflation going from 1 to 9, bank failures, you name it, in the last 5 years, any problem you could have thought about, any real uncertainty, even after the market went down 20, 30% in 2022, the word uncertainty and all of these headlines used by the media
was actually fractional compared to what you are hearing now. So based on my knowledge of tariffs and a lot of other things, I feel 90% of this is overblown and nothing has really happened, but people are literally causing enough fear to bring the S&P down 10%. So that is exactly why. But watch the watch list, you guys, and you know that. And if you want me to talk about the drama stuff, you might put a target on you too. So welcome to the club, baby. But Chattadonia, we got more. How much time we got? Oh, wow. We actually got to kind of hurry. So we got to kind of run it up, baby. Oh, yeah. Fitch major UK banks are positioned well to handle macroeconomic environment. Ah, man. Alrighty. Intel, they're up by 11. New CEO. Dollar General up 5.9. Earnings. STLD up 2. VG up 2.7. Insider buy. NVO up 2. Kepler upgrade. BFP up 1.8. Trump threatens EU wine tariffs. Baidu up 1.5. Tesla working with Baidu to improve ADAS in China. Tap up on the wine threatening. GII is up by 11.8 off earnings. FN up 9. Amazon acquiring 300,000 shares. Qubits up 5.3 off earnings. Futu up 2 off earnings. ALKT up 1.5. Stevens upgrade. CRVO up 30. Chardon Capital upgrade. AVAH up 20.3. FFNW 16.1 final regulatory approval. CCLD up 15 off earnings. MGTX 11.5 strategic collaboration with Hologen. FAR up 9.6 earnings. ACNT 5.7 to sell to Bristol Metals for $45 million in cash. ATYR up 5.1 publication of efzotamab immunomodularity activity in science translation medicine. CATX up 4.5 HC Wainwright buy. SAHLS insider buy. Adobe down 6.9 on earnings. PCAR down 6.2. Government reevaluating heavy-duty trucks on NOx rules. CMI down 5. TTD down 2.8. New COO. Myrna down 2.4. Lower to neutral. ALAB down 1.2. Institutional holders selling remaining shares. PAP down 18 earnings. VNet 11 convertible offering. X-Ray down 1.8. Needham downgrade. And then Nova down 20. Exploring options with creditors, including bankruptcy. Wow. Chattadonia. Whew. Oh, man. How do you feel? Are you ready? Are you ready? I hope you guys are feeling good. I hope you are feeling good. Be safe. God bless you. God bless America. But do you realize that's the whole point? Here at the Cult, man, we have to acknowledge a very, very important reality. We all have freedom. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But when it's all said and done, this great country that you live in, a lot of people, you had no direct part in it. I know, it's sad. But who did? The veterans of the United States of America. The people who served, they gave up their lives, they sacrificed time with their family, and even when they returned home, they had to deal with even more than anybody can imagine. So that's why here at the Cult, man, we must honor the veterans every single day, and I pray that all of you bring this into real life. It's a very important thing. Without the veterans, without honoring this amazing sacrifice and service to this country, I don't know what the world would look like if we didn't have them. And it's actually kind of insane that we look over it so easily. So I could talk about homeless veterans and what we need to change, but just at the bare minimum, I hope day in, day out, you always carry on this culture, show the love to the veterans. And veterans, I hope you know we love and appreciate you. And please, if anybody is going to be a property owner, it should be you guys. If we are going to be doing anything with the long term, it should be you guys. So please let us help take advantage of it all. And veterans, at the end of the day, we owe you a big one. God bless you. Thank you for your service. And big shout out to your families as well. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities. Doctors, teachers, nurses, firefighters, police officers. If you're making your community run, God bless you and thank you, baby. Keep it up, bud. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Oh. Senator Judge! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, no. Let's go. Okay, it still works. Stop, just making sure, bro. Oh, yeah. Shout out to vets, baby. Good morning. Good morning. So, Chad, I do have a couple of plays. We got a little bit of time here. So, let's get ready to make the move to Gen Pop. We're going to Gen Pop, baby. Are you guys ready to go to Gen Pop? I hope you're ready to go to Gen Pop. That's where we're going, man. PPI, again, today's going to be weird. So all the headlines and whatnot, but you had good PPI, but look at the bond yields and everything. We are reacting a lot like yesterday. So let's see what we end up doing. All righty. So that being said, I love you. God bless America. And I will see you there. Veterans, thank you, baby. Let's have a good one. Happy Friday, Junior.